Hello. So today I'm just going to graph this function. Y is equal to 2 times x plus 2 and x minus 1. Before I graph it, I am going to graph the parent function. So the parent function is just y is equal to x squared. That way we can determine like what transformations occurred when we start here at y is equal to x squared and we have to create another equation that looks a lot different. Okay, so anyway, I have points already on my paper, so I'm just going to draw a parabola through those points, and there you go. I would encourage you all to buy graph paper. That way when you have to graph something, it can look as detailed as possible. All right, so for the function that we have to graph, I noticed that this is in factor form. And when I looked at my notes, I saw that with factor form, in order to find the x-intercepts, they're basically already given to you. So you basically just set each factor equal to 0. And when I do that, I get the coordinate point -2, 0, where of course we just said y was equal to 0. And then the next coordinate point will be 1, 0. All right, so let's just find the rest of our critical points and then we can kind of build upon it, okay? So the next thing I'm going to look for is my y-intercept. So y-intercept is the idea that I said x equal to 0, then solve for y. So when I said x equal to 0, I'll have y is going to be equal to 2 times, well, 0 plus 2 is just 2. And then 0 minus 1 is just -1. So when I multiply that together, I get y is equal to -4. So my y-intercept coordinate point will be 0, -4. Well, to find the vertex, I am going to plot my points because I'm going to use my x-intercepts to help me find my AOS, and then after I find my AOS, I can find my complete vertex. So I'm going to move over to my paper with my graph. I'm going to plot the point 1, 0 and -2, 0. I'm also going to plot my y-intercept at 0, -4. And there you go. So I know that the AOS is going to lie between my zeros. So one 0 is at 2, the other 0 is at 1. So to go from positive 1 to 2, I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3 spaces. And then again, AOS is just in between that. So I'm just going to divide that by 2. And I get 1.5. And 1.5 is not my AOS. It's just the distance from each x-intercept. So what that means is that I'm going to start at positive 1. And I'm going to go over 1.5 spaces to get to my AOS. So this is 1. A half is right in between here. So I'm just going to draw like a dotted line. Okay. So if this is 0, this is -1. The dotted line is right in the center of it. So my AOS, if I come over to vertex, it's going to be x is going to be equal to -0.5 or -1/2. And the AOS is going to be the x coordinate point of the vertex. So that means that I have to plug in this x coordinate point to find my y. So I get f of -1/2 is going to be equal to 2 times -1/2 plus 2. And 1 times that by -1/2 minus 1. So my work, I will have y is going to be equal to 2 times -1/2 plus 2 is 1 1/2 or just 3/2. And then -1 minus 1 is -3/2 again. And I personally just like to work with fractions opposed to decimals. So these two cancels out. I just multiply straight across. I get -9/2 or just -4.5. So my complete vertex would be -1/2, -4.5. So when I come over here to plot my points, well, to plot my vertex, I know 0, 4 is my wiring sub, so I'm going to go down just a half space. And my vertex will be at -1/2, 4.5. To find 1/5 point, I am going to figure out the point that's symmetric to the wiring sub. So the wiring sub is half a space over from the AOS. So I'm going to go half a space more to get the other point that's symmetric. So that point is going to be at -1, -4. And again, I got that point without doing any additional math, okay? And then from there, the best way I can, I just put my parabola through these points. And there you go. Now, when it says describe the transformation, I know since A is equal to 2, and 2, of course, is greater than 1, my parabola had a vertical stretch of a factor of 2. You can go one step further and compare the vertex and add that to your notes. So for example, my vertex originally started at the point 0, 0, but now it's at the point -0.5, comma -4.5. So you can kind of describe what happened, like how did it move from your parent function down to your new function. All right, that is all.